In the NBA, there is a standpoint that greatness comes from winning championships. While most of the greatest players in NBA history have also won at least one ring, there are countless others who are considered among the elite in NBA history, despite never lifting the Larry O'Brien trophy. The Mailman is one such player, who never won a championship but is widely known as one of the greatest power forwards of all time. Standing at 6'9" and weighing 250 pounds, Karl Malone's size alone was intimidating enough. He was by far the scariest athlete in the 1990s, with only David Robinson close to his level. Malone spent 18 years in the league, most of them with the Utah Jazz, and finished second on the all-time scoring list with only Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in front of him, until LeBron James climbed in between them this season. Malone's amazing ability to stay healthy is something that is rarely seen, especially for a power forward. As impressive as former teammate John Stockton's consistency was, Malone was even more remarkable considering he had a considerably higher amount of weight pounding his knees every time Malone hit the court after skying for a rebound or throwing down a hammer dunk. Malone is the all-time leader in free throws made and attempted for a good reason. He was near impossible to guard. Play him close and a quick first step could put a quickened rim shaking into that particular possession. And forget about blocking Malone when he was going for a dunk. Once he started the motion, the ball was going in the basket. Defenders had a better chance of having their arm torn off.
But if I was checking him in the game, he'd try to put his elbow through my mouth.
David Robinson goes down immediately. It looked like a Karl Malone elbow.
I thought he was a little.
Than they did stuffing Malone. He maintained a high level of play even at age 40, becoming the oldest player to both log a triple-double and to be a starter on an NBA Finals-bound team. Malone won 2 MVP awards in 1997 and 1999.
Congratulations, Karl Malone, 1996-97 NBA Most Valuable Player.
Was a 14-time NBA All-Star, 11 NBA All-First Team, 3 times First Team All-Defense, and won 2 Olympic gold medals in Barcelona with the Dream Team in 1992 and 4 years later in Atlanta. He achieved that with his soft touch, despite being strong as a rock. And never ever forget to mention John Stockton when you talk about how good Malone was.
On the alley-oop from Stockton to Malone. Stockton to Malone. Gets it. Gotta know they're going pick and roll.
Since Stockton was one of the best playmakers to ever play the game.
On the way, no. Rebound, Green up high. They knock it loose. It's a free ball. Makes it Arch unworthy. 3-on-2 break. Stockton down the middle. Stockton gives the ball. Broken up, but it bounces into the...
And Malone knew how to use that. Malone had the toughness to back up his physical style of basketball. So how did Malone become one of the NBA's toughest, most menacing players to face? One glimpse into his life growing and it will become crystal clear. Karl Malone was the youngest of 9 children growing up. His father raised Malone and his siblings with another woman, and when Malone was only 3 years old, his father committed suicide. Karl spent his childhood farming, chopping wood, hunting, and fishing. He started to play basketball in his early teens, and by the time he was ready for college, he was highly recruited. Malone chose to go to Louisiana Tech University since it was the closest one to his home. Karl was one of the best scorers of the time and led his team to the first ever NCAA tournament. When they were done in the Sweet 16 phase, the Utah Jazz selected him with the 13th pick at the 1985 NBA draft.
The Utah Jazz select Karl Malone of Louisiana Tech.
There is Karl Malone, Louisiana Tech University. He is 6'9", 250.
And Malone will stay with the Jazz until 2003. Under head coach Frank Layden, he averaged 14.9 points and 8.9 rebounds in his first season and made the 1986 NBA All-Rookie team after coming in 3rd for Rookie of the Year votes.
Things that makes the NBA great, consistently great, is the fact that each year 3 or 4 outstanding rookies come into the league. And this year is no exception, and Karl Malone here is as good as there is coming into the league. He is out of Louisiana Tech. He is 6'9", 255 pounds. And
by the 1987-88 season, Malone was the foundation of the offense, and John Stockton was the floor general. Malone made his first All-Star game in 1988 on the strength of 27.1 points per game and made his first All-NBA team at the end of the season. This was the first of 14 consecutive All-Star appearances for him. Malone signed a 10-year contract during the 1988 offseason worth $18 million. In December 1988, Jerry Sloan succeeded Layden as head coach, as Layden became team president.
Saw was the rawness, this talent. Our relationship became close to a father-son relationship, but I was the father. I had to remind him that a lot of times.
Malone averaged 29.1 points in 1988-89, good for second in the NBA behind Michael Jordan, and 10.7 rebounds, which was fifth in the league. As he had done in 1989-90, Malone finished the 1991-92 season second in the league in scoring, averaging 28 points per game. He made the All-NBA first team for the fourth straight year. It was also a breakout season for the Jazz. During the 1992 NBA playoffs, the team made the Western Conference Finals for the first time in franchise history. Malone scored 40 or more points in 5 games this season. In its first ever franchise Western Conference Finals appearance, in 6 games, the Jazz lost in the playoffs for the second straight season to the Portland Trail Blazers. Following the 1992 Summer Olympics, in which Malone helped the American national team, dubbed the Dream Team, win a gold medal, Malone expressed opposition to Magic Johnson, who had recently tested positive for HIV and retired from the NBA in 1991.
Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers.
Making a comeback to the league, Malone's point of view diverged from the support for Johnson from his Olympic and Los Angeles Lakers teammates, and the NBA implemented AIDS-related precautions after Johnson's revelation. Every year the Jazz were title contenders, but they reached their first final in 1997 when they faced Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Just like a year later, the Jazz were a good team, but not good enough to go over MJ and the Bulls, losing both years in 6 games. After those final losses, the Jazz couldn't go back to the finals for the next 5 seasons, and in 2003, Malone decided to join the youngsters Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant in LA.
You know how Shaquille put his spin on it. He said, "You come to LA, we rule the world."
In one last push to win the NBA trophy.
15th campaign from Louisiana Tech, Karl Malone.
Hopping from 18, and Wallace can't get the follow to go.
Unfortunately for Malone, the Lakers lost to the Detroit Pistons in the 2004 NBA Finals.
Congratulating him as the clock ticks down.
After which, Malone retired.
Do what you do, and you are the best at it. And I want to say I love you, thank you, and God bless you.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, press the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any new videos.